Good morning, everyone. This is Melody at the Iowa Quilt Museum here in Winterset, Iowa. I thought, you know what, I'm going to start now, start a little early. And just when I went to hit the start, it said 9 a.m. So I'm on time today, no 2 minutes or 3 minutes late. I'm only going to feature one quilt today. So in doing that, I want to talk about something else. But real quick, this weekend, October 25th and 26th, Saturday and Sunday, is our last barn quilt painting class of the season. It'll be held at the Iowa State Extension office here in Winterset. We still have, I think, 4 spots on Saturday, and we're about, I think we have 7 spots on Sunday. If you're close by and you want to join, or I had one lady that took a road trip from Minnesota and listened to a book and came down and quilted and painted a barn quilt and finished her book on the way back, did a little shopping. So that's an option if you're not that close, you know. Get out your favorite podcast and come drive on down, and you get to go home with a nice barn quilt, put up on your garage or your shed. Also, I keep talking about Share Your Stash sale. We are no longer taking donations. Please don't bring me your donations anymore. I couldn't get this cart out. Our kitchen is packed, our basement. So I just thank you to everyone that brought items in, people that road tripped in and brought their items. Really appreciate it all. Really great stuff. We got a big metal dress form yesterday. It's not metal, it's new. Well, I think it is metal, but anyway, it's nice that we got that in yesterday. No more. We will no longer take donations. We'll start taking donations again December 8th. So if you have something you're like, shoot, just hold on to it for a couple of weeks and I'll be happy to take it December 8th. If you are around and you were like, gee, I wish I really could help out, I would love for you to come help out. We need people to help sort all these wonderful items that came in. So if you're, again, close by and you are a friend of the museum and you want to help out, please come by and let us know, and we will gladly help. Give you a job, help us sort our items out. And then we're also going to need some help getting it from here to the sale. So, and that's on, we'll be delivering things November 6th and 7th, and then the sale will be on the 8th. November 8th is the sale. Please come. We have so many wonderful things that you are going to want to see and maybe buy. Hopefully, yes, buy and buy. So, okay, so I want to get to our quilt today, and before that, I promised you to talk about our fabric that's coming out. So here's the story. I had just started my job. I was here and overwhelmed with lots of things coming at this non-quilter and wanting to do my job really well. And this lady, very nice lady, came in and said, hey, I want to give you this book. You're a museum, and I think you would want this book, and I have more to come. And I was like, oh, okay, great, thanks. She goes, just take a look and let me know. I said, okay, great. And I set it on the back of my desk and never looked at it again because I was so overwhelmed with learning a new job. So finally, cleaning off that back desk, I pulled this out and went, hey, what is this? This lady brought this. What is this? And I started flipping through it. And I was like, wow, this is really old. I don't know what this is. And then I showed it to Carissa, who's the director before me. I said, what is this? She goes, well, I think it's a swatch book. They would sell samples. But if it's so old, why does it say 2023 on it? And we're like, oh, this is not 2023. This is 1923. It's shirting fabric. And you can see the date right there. Can you see the date? Where's the date? Oh, right here in the middle. July 23. And then it has all these fabrics swatches on them. And look at the paper is made out of some kind of fabric as well, because it's got little threads pulling off of it. And it was so amazing. And the lady had the business card on it. And so then I called the lady on the business card, and she no longer worked there. So that was a problem. Anyway, again, got put aside. Finally, I brought it out to a board meeting, and I said, hey, I don't know what to do with this. And so then it came up in the board meeting that, well, you know, I wonder if we could pair up with a company that would recreate some of these prints and create something, a fabric line. So that's how it started. And we have God bless, we have Mary Ann Franz on our board, and she reached out to a company and got things rolling. So that's the story of the swatch book Fabric by the Iowa Quilt Museum. And I showed you this yesterday, and this kind of shows you, they went through that book, highlighted the ones they liked, then they made little prints on paper, and then they had to go through that and decide which ones they liked out of that. It was a big, lengthy process. And so these are the ones they came up with. I can't see, I hope you can see them. And then, on top of that, we did this little book. Look right there. Oh my gosh. Look right here. Wait. I was looking through this book just this morning, and I didn't even notice this piece down here. I started to read it, and it made me want to cry. The Iowa Quilt Museum, established in Winterset of 2016, occupies a historical building in the town that was the town's J.C. Penney storefront for nearly 70 years. The museum, which does not collect quilts, offers 3 to 4 curated exhibits in America quilts per year exhibitors of American quilts per year, each one showcasing a single artist, a select theme, or a specific genre. And then it has our so excited. Anyway, so this book is great because it shows you quilts. They reached out to different quilters. This quilt is by Wendy Shepard. This one is by Tony Jacobson, our local guy. Anyway, they asked him to design some quilts with these fabrics, and they did. And then so they have these, and you're like, wow, I love elephants. Well, they have all these, like here, that tells you what yardage, what you would need, of how much to make that quilt. This one, obviously, this is close to our heart because that's the Iowa block. That's our logo. And that one is designed also by Tony Jacobson. And so they have some great quilts in here and suggestions of fabric and the yardage you would need to make that quilt. This one's by Anderson and Colleen Reel. Chloe Anderson and Colleen Reel. They designed that one. And this one's designed by Tony again. Anyway, so this is that. And then here's something else that really gets me excited. So here's this fabric, but look what's on the fabric. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so that, if your local quilt shop holds Wyndham Fabrics, sells Wyndham Fabrics, let them know that this is out there, and if you're interested that you would like them to purchase it, because now's the time for your quilt shop to purchase that fabric, and then it'll be in stores in late spring, early summer. So just right before our Iowa Quilt Festival, should be in stores. We're hoping that it'll be out by then. Yeah, really exciting. So overwhelmed and excited about it. In fact, they just said that sales are going really well. And I've had other people ask, are we going to do other colors? And they just suggested that maybe we should look at the book again and do some more prints, and maybe in red and white, which is close to our heart because that was our first exhibit. That's our was a red white quilts. And so anyway, okay, enough of that. Very excited, and that was the story. So let's talk about today's quilt. So Sylvia took a picture of this quilt block called Orange Peel. I don't know how I got so off-centered there. There we go. Orange Peel. And I had a couple people guess. One person said cathedral window variation, and another person said orange peel. This is an orange peel, and I found out some really interesting stuff about it. You think, oh, okay, orange peel. But no, it's tied to history, everybody. Dimensions, 70 by 76. Time period, circa 1870. Found in Michigan, unknown quilter. Blended by Julie Silber. Another pieced design requiring curved seams. Orange peel is most successful when made by a skilled and experienced quilt maker. Imagine if those points did not meet, it would be a different quilt altogether. The deep indigo fabric, figured with sparkly white stars, adds to the graphic drama. The initials RWR embroidered in red, which you can kind of see, where's my finger? Kind of see right there. May be those of the maker, although they also could represent the recipient of a gift or later owner. So that's what Julie has on that. So my little toe dip on orange peel quilt block. So when people say it's just a quilt, it is not just a quilt. These quilts are our legacy. These are history. These are our stories. These are art. And this is an example of history. So I have a couple of different not variations, but I reached out, I found Julie Cefal, I think is how you say her name, Cefau or ALU, and she has the website thecraftyquilter.com. Hers was the first I found, and it says the history of the orange peel quilt dates back to the late 1700s. The story goes that a significant French officer was invited to celebrate the colonists' victory of the American War of Independence. When the French officer was offered an orange, he cut it into 4 segments before he peeled it. One of the female guests later picked up the discarded peel segment and used it as inspiration for the next quilt design. Orange peel quilts contain symmetric shapes that look like petals or orange peel segments. They can be made into curved pieces or by appliquing the shape on top of background fabric. The range from traditional block-based quilts are more modern to more modern interpretations that are often arranged and combined in non-traditional ways. For us non-quilters, let me just demonstrate real quick. This is the quilt block right here. Right there. That's the quilt block. But when you take that away, it looks like you have these circles, and we'll kind of get into that in a minute. So then I went to another website called ageofrevolution.org, and they give credit to Gilbert de Morte, Marquis de Lafayette. He played a key role in both the American and the French Revolution and became known as the hero of 2 worlds. As an officer of the French army, he joined the American colonists and was instrumental in achieving the surrender of British forces in Yorktown. All us Hamilton fans know Lafayette. Like I hear this song in my head, Lafayette. Okay, anyway, he became a popular hero in the U.S. and new towns and cities named after him. So it gives a little more about history of him. And again, this is on ageofrevolution.org. It says the link between orange peel quilts like this one block. Oh, it has a picture of one. And Lafayette is based on a popular legend. It says the story goes that Lafayette was invited to a banquet to celebrate the colonists' victory of the American War of Independence. And at the end of the meal, he gets the orange, he cuts it, and then he peels it after he cuts it, and a female guest. So, one was more, a French officer. The other was, they're pointing to Lafayette directly. Fieldguidetoquilts.com also points it right to Lafayette. It says, as a lovely story goes with the block, Lafayette, a French nobleman whose name was about 40 miles long. I love that because I'm so terrible with names and reading, and so I love that she said that. It was a close friend to George Washington and major help in the Americans during the Revolutionary War. So I like this. It's fieldguidetoquilts.com. She gives samples of the quilt blocks. So, for instance, here's what she has for the Lafayette, just for the orange peel. This one here. And it says the block was first published as orange peel in 1897 as Ladies Art Contemporary Block number 7. It was resurrected twice with near identical names in the Kansas City Star and in the Chicago Tribune in 1933. Also, the same year, Holland's Magazine of Dallas, Texas, called it Save a Piece, and it's, quote, scraps. So this is the block here where they have, even the background is segmented. And then down here she has Lafayette orange peel where the block in the back is solid. And then it looks like they applique the petals on the top, the orange peel petals on top. So it says orange peel is often called Lafayette peel, orange peel. But there is another block of the name published in 1933. And then lastly, I found this really interesting. One called Rob Peter to Pay Paul is another one. And so this is the quilt block here. And do you see this? If you just turn those like this, it looks like an orange peel block, right? But it's this way. And this is Rob Peter to Pay Paul. And that's on, again, the website, Field Guide to Quilts.com, ageofrevolution.org, and thecraftyquilter.com is where I got all that information. But I love when, this isn't the only one. What else was there? There's some block that's the surrender. There's some war reference there as well. I just love that there's tied to history, tied to stories, right? Storytelling. So I'm going to take you off and we're going to take a closer look at orange peel. And you can see the pretty stars that Julie was talking about in the fabric. And actually, when you come over here, we'll look at the embroidery here of RWR. And then we have this, the binding is a different piece of fabric. It's a little deeper in color too. And look at her quilting here, her little boxes. But yet she outlines the petals, right? So she's got the curves in the petals here, or the peels. And then she's got the squares. Yeah, she did it in segments for each square, or diamond, I should say. It's interesting that she didn't choose to do diamond shapes in here, that she did squares instead. But of course, I like to look at the back, and this one did not disappoint because you really could see the her quilting here in the petals, the center, and outlining the peels. And it gives a nice, beautiful effect on the back as well. The quilting on these quilts is just so amazing. We were talking to Julie pointed out about the points and getting those points perfect, because if they didn't line up, how it would be a totally different quilt. But I'm noticing like the points of the diamonds. Interesting. Don't quite meet here. I love the X that she has on the outside. So it goes all the way around too, right? So you have these kind of the effect of like a little white diamond, or if you just see the X's on the ends there too. So there we go. A little Revolutionary War history. A little bit about Lafayette and how the French like to eat their oranges. Again, I'm only going to do one quilt today. We have 5 more quilts. Five more quilts to go over. There are 5 weeks left to come see this exhibit in person. You don't want to miss it. It's to see it in person, to see the handwork that's done is amazing. And again, they're not just quilts. This is fabulous art and history. So you have 5 weeks. Come see us. You don't live in Iowa, you have 5 weeks. Plan a little trip before the weather gets iffy. It's getting a little fall outside. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this morning. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and join me next week when we're going to feature, I don't know what. I have some, there's 2. You can tell which ones are my favorites because I kind of save them towards the end. Yeah, anyway, thank you for joining. We'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.